Okay, so I did a pretty big spread just in preparation for our time together, and it's so beautiful. Um, what I'm intuiting based on all these cards, there's a lot of them, but I just want to go through them rather than spend time during our meditation to really dive into each and every card and read the book. I'm I'm just going to give you intuitively what I feel is being shown to us for the times that we're in and who we are and all that's ahead. So moving from left to right, with the exception of the four angel cards in the middle by the crystal mandala or the crystal grid, those I placed last. So I'm moving left to right, and then we'll come back and finish with the angel cards. So we're really, again, starting top left, we're moving into a time. Many of you know we are living in prophesied times, and not just prophesied from the Bible, but prophesied in many, many different spiritual texts, spiritual practices, groups of people throughout history. So we are in this time of manifestation of heaven on earth, of the raptured state, to where we are transitioning out of the heaviness and the toil and the strife and the hell that many of us have experienced, some to varying degrees. But we're manifesting, each and every one of us, every single day, with our thoughts and our beliefs and our hopes and our dreams, and what we feel deep within our hearts. We are manifesting this new reality. Moving on, everyone has mystical powers. We are all embodiments of the divine, of God, a piece of God in a body. The creativity that we have, the mind that we have, the love, the emotions, we all have mystical powers, and we are being called now to step into that and into our role as transformers of this reality, of our families, of our friends, and especially it all starts within us. So moving on to the sky card. This card represents all these little beautiful bits of creation, and in the guidebook it talks about them being pollinators. And really, I feel like many of us have believed the lie that we are small and our thoughts and beliefs and things are somewhat insignificant. But the truth is that without these pollinators, we wouldn't eat. So yes, they're small creatures, and yes, they are seemingly small on the grand scale of the beings on the planet, but their role is crucial. It's imperative to the sustenance of the human race, to the sustenance of the animal kingdom. So this is showing that we are these beings. We are, and every small act and step we take to really embody the fullness of who we are has profound impact. And going into the cave card, there are times that we have put ourselves and played small, and that time is over. Now the time, if you spend any more time in the cave, the time in the cave is now really diving within, spending that time to devoting your efforts, your energy toward really developing and addressing any of the things in you, parts of your story, parts of your experiences, things that you've internalized as truth that really truly are lies. And now the time has come that in this cave that we've kind of hidden ourselves in, or played small, or have stayed in the people pleasing mindset to where we're just going to shrink back and we're going to let other people do it. Now, that time is over. Now this cave is transformational. Now this cave is where in these depths we rise, and we go within, we face some of that darkness, we face some of those fears, and now we come out. And next card, the persistent presence. Now we come out and we are ready to step into our roles as the divine feminines that are going to bring about massive transformation in our day-to-day life. But this is it's with the times that are coming, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be, unicorns and rainbows and a walk in the park. It's going to require something of us, and our persistence is going to be required. Our presence and our authenticity and our willingness to keep going even when it's challenging, we were made for this. And I know all of us have different stories as far as some of the things that we've experienced and endured and hardships or traumas. But all of those things have been preparing us for this time. That resiliency, and even if we've been impacted, and even if we still have the bumps and the bruises and the scars, and we're still working through some of those emotions, and we're still finding freedom from it, that's okay. That's part of the process. But that has created a sense of resiliency and that persistence in us, and our time, our power, our necessity, the necessity that is being called, that's calling us to get out of our cave, to be transformed, and to step into our power. It's now. And I'm going to move now. Instead of going back up, I'm going to go to birth mysteries. And the question is here is, what are you being called to create? Each and every one of us, through the stories, through the traumas, through the lives that we've lived up until this point, it's impacted us in some way. We all have the creativity of God inside of us. We all have the creativity of Source or of the universe, however it most resonates with you. This is the time where we are being called to really look at that and devote our energy and our attention to it, and not allow the outside distractions to keep us from giving birth. And this is very, very important, because as feminines, we know our bodies are the birthing vessel of our reality. This is where transformation happens. We are being called to birth into existence something beautiful that is going to be transformative. It's going to impact our families. It's going to impact our friends. It's going to impact our workplace. It's going to impact our communities. So what is it that is in with you that has been coming to you, but maybe you ignore, or that you feel, but it's a pipe dream, or wouldn't it be great if? No. That time is now. And then moving up to ride the waves, life lessons and growth. You will get through this. Again, everything up to this point, it maybe hasn't always been pleasant, and there's plenty of pain that has come with it. But again, that's built up resiliency. And ride the waves, even though we're in a time of tremendous transformation, this transformation is going to bring with it some challenge. If you think of people that talk in the spiritual community of, flow, be in the flow state, it's absolutely true. Water is life. Water carries life. Without water, nothing on this planet would survive. So water is an ambassador of creation and change. And what's going to happen, and we'll see it more and more and more, is that the wave, whether you've been in the waves for a while, and the water's been turbulent and you've been doing your best to keep your head above water, the external pressure, I believe, will continue to build. But because of everything that we've been equipped with, because of everything that we've experienced coming up to this point, girl, we're going to grab our surfboards or boogie boards, whatever suits you, and we know how to ride this out. And we will not be deterred, because I hope that each of you have felt it, and in whatever degree, varying degree that may be. But I know that I have felt it, that I'm finding my voice. I'm finding my power. I no longer am going to allow myself to be shrunken because of the thoughts or opinions of other people. I'm ready. It's taken me a long time, but you know what? It's divine time. It's okay. The time is now. So we're ready. The wave is going to continue to build, and it may seem chaotic, but change isn't necessarily comfortable. Change isn't necessarily gentle and slow, but we were built for this. We've been prepared for this. Our courage and our bravery is now. So skipping the angel cards over the crystal mandala or crystal grid, and I'm going to go to Goodwill. So I just actually pulled both Goodwill and Acceptance for myself earlier in the week. So it's amazing that today they appear again. And these two cards specifically talk about the persistence of goodwill, right? The heart of God, the truth of source, of the creator, is truly goodwill. It is love. It's unconditional love. And we are going to be called to embody that persistent goodwill despite all the outward pressures that are going to be mounting around us as we are finding our voice, as we're stepping into our power, as we're taking a role of leadership, as we are really stepping into the truth of who we are. That won't always be met with a lot of acceptance, which is funny because that's the next card, from the people in our lives. But really, we are being called to maintain an attitude of goodwill towards others and accepting them. So these two cards really go hand in hand, accepting them for where they are on their journey. You do not have to slow your progress, minimize your journey, minimize the things that you have been through up until this point for the sake of trying to please others anymore. Many of you, I know for myself, have come out of, or maybe are still in the process of coming out of, being people pleasers. It's possible to have goodwill for people, yet stand in your truth and in your authenticity. Speak your mind in love. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be in your face or accusatory. But it's time that we stop pleasing other people and putting their needs ahead of our own. And that could even be a spouse or your children or your best friend or your parents or siblings, whatever that is. We are being called to step into the truth and the presence and the sovereignty of who we are as individuals. And the more that we do that, the more transformative that is going to be in our own life first and foremost, and that is going to ripple out to everyone we have ever been in contact with. We're all connected, and really doing the work within ourselves is how we impact the most. So these two cards, goodwill and acceptance, we are being called that while we're transitioning and really finding our voice and coming out of people pleasing and really pursuing what we're being called to create and how we can impact, we need to continue to have goodwill for others that may not meet us with excitement or encouragement or, cheerleading for where we're going. And we need to be accepting of that they're on their own journey. We are not called to transform others. We are called to transform ourselves, love ourselves, have compassion on ourselves and others, but ultimately by doing and directing that towards us first, that is how we make the bigger impact, and it spills out from there. So the next card we're looking at is Courage. I love these Divine Priestess cards. Courage, strength, fierceness, family. Girlfriend, this is the time. This is our inner lioness. This is where, again, in these trying times, these prophesied times, these pivotal times, these amazing times, because they're bringing transformation. They're going to change the world as we know it, and we get to be a part of it. But it is going to call us to action, to stand in courage, to stand in strength, to be fierce. And I don't mean fierce in your outfit or your fingernails or, how great your eyeliner is. That's all bullshit. This is fierceness in the power and the truth and the authority and the presence that we bring to our day-to-day lives for our families, the people we love the most. Our courage is going to transform ourselves, and next in line is those closest to us, our family. And what comes from taking a stance of courage, stepping into what we're being called to create, stepping into the truth of who we are, accepting that not everyone will meet us with excitement, but yet still being courageous enough to press on and be persistent. What comes? A river of blessings. the release of constraints, we break free from the hindrances. The hindrances I've learned personally, the hindrances that we have kept ourselves in, the restraints and constraints that we have held ourselves in, but also the release of constraints from the outside world. The inner world is reflected to us by the outer world. So the pressures that you felt, ways that you felt oppressed or neglected or pushed down or unappreciated or taken advantage of, us stepping into the fullness of who we are in courage, in love, in goodwill, with acceptance, ready to ride the waves, ready to step into the dreams and the goals of things that we've wanted to create but maybe haven't allowed ourselves to. When we take this place of courage now moving forward, river of blessings spills out. Look at a river, more of that water energy, that life, that flow. And the next thing, what comes next after that river of blessings? You're building your world, creation, expansion, networking. And if you look at this divine priestess, she's nestled inside the opening of a tree trunk. And if you're able to zoom in, there's a hive. It's a hive of all these the pollinators, going back to the sky card. Look at, she's cocooned within this hive, nestled in the strength and the stability of this tree. And there's bees. If you can zoom in, there's bees that are around her. That is us, ladies. We have been these worker bees. We have been the ones that have built the hives. We have been the caretakers. And now it's time that we don't just do that for others, that by us embodying that for ourselves, doing the inner work, transforming in the cave, having the courage, the blessings flow, and what happens from there? We begin to build a whole new world. That's happening on the external. That is what has been prophesied. That is what we're living through. That is why we came. That is why we are here now in these times. But that also is our own world, our own experience in life, our own interaction with creation. It's amazing. So now going into the tarot cards, the Page of Cups, again, look at the water. Look at the water that's behind the page, and even the hat or the scarf that even it looks like water. And the surprise here is the fish that comes out of the cup. And the reality is that we are going to be blown away by the opportunities. Once we embody these things, once we embrace them, once we make them our truth, we're going to be blown away and pleasantly surprised in some of the most unexpected ways that there's provision for us, there's opportunity for us, things begin to fall in place. And does this card reflect someone who is efforting? Is he struggling? Or has this been a gift that has been presented unexpectedly? And in that same column, we have then the Page of Swords and both the Emperor in reverse. And really, what this speaks to me, especially considering, I feel called to get together other divine feminines that, and help encourage you to step into the truth and the power of who you are. Both of these are pretty masculine energies. And that really is what I believe part of this huge transitional time that we're in is the transformation and the restoration of balance within our world, within our society, within humanity. The sword representing our thoughts and the mental body. And this is, to me, turning the concept and the thought of us having to have everything figured out before we take action, us having to, have some sort of plan. I'm a checklist girl myself. I like to plan. A lot of us our planners, because that's how we keep some semblance of order and system in our house. But I feel like a big part of, because there's going to be so much change, the wave that we're called to ride is coming and already started. So this isn't anymore about following logic and intelligence or some well-laid plan. Nope, that's upside down. This is now, we're moving into a heart space. We're moving into embodying really the divine mystical powers that we have, the gifts that we have, the intuitive knowing, whether you call it a gut feeling or your intuition, or that thought that comes out of nowhere that you don't remember thinking. That's what these are the times we're being called into, is moving from our heart space and out of the head. And then the emperor, to me, the emperor is a man on a throne. And this isn't let's go burn our bras and down with, men by any means. This is, though, to me, and the way that I'm intuiting this is really, this is representative of why it's so important that we are stepping into our truth, stepping into our power, because there has been imbalance, and that level of imbalance for so long has turned things upside down. And it's time for us to step into our role, bring balance through love and nurturing and creativity and the beauty that each of us bring. Next card in tarot is the Seven of Wands. And really, this speaks to me again in regards to the opposition that we are going to experience. It may feel trying at times. The change that's upon us, what is here, is it's going to require that courage. It's going to require our persistence. It's going to require us really continuing to have goodwill and acceptance of what's happening and not go into fear. But it's not a fight where we are efforting against it. It is really one where, again, by embodying the fullness of who we are and embodying faith and trust that we have been called for such a time as this, that we can stay in love, we can stay in power, and not go into fear. And then ultimately, what comes next? The Four of Wands, which is celebration and blessing and joyousness. When we continue to be courageous, when we continue to be persistent and stand in our power, beautiful things come. That river of blessing comes. The building of our new world comes. But what kind of puts the brakes on is we then have the Five of Pentacles. And I really believe this is speaking to part of the transformation of the world around us is going to be the crumbling of so many facets of the society that we have known for our whole lives. And a big part of that is the financial systems. And I've just heard this even just this morning, and me listening to another sharing was, it would be wise, we have been trained our entire lives to save for retirement, to, make sure we always have enough. And, it's been a very lack-based, fear-based sort of perception of money and wealth and goods. And that's going to change. We're going to be ultimately moving into a place to where the true abundance that's been withheld from us, just through the lack and scarcity mindset, it's never changed that abundance has always been available to us. It's always been around. But because of the way that we have grown up, because of the systems that have been in place, we are really trained to believe that there's not enough. You've got to stow away for a rainy day, for what if something happens? What if my car breaks down? What if this, I lose, all these different fear-based things. And we're going to see this happen, that all the false security that people have had in wealth and stockpiles of goods, and it's going to crumble. It's going to crumble. But it goes back to the birthing process. It has to fall away. That false sense of security, that false sense of wealth has to fall away. It does. In order to birth something brand new, all the old systems that we've all clung to, that have been our, in one way, they've been our God, because many have fallen into believing that if they have enough, then that's what sustains them. And it's not. It's the Spirit of God in us. It is the part of God that animates our very bodies. So that's part of the awakening process. So now we're going to go into the angel cards above the crystal mandala, and I'm going to look at the top left, block out distractions. And if you can zoom in on this card, you can definitely read the sharings that are on it. But I believe this again is a call that we cannot let the things that we've grown accustomed to, all the noise, the TVs, the social medias, the drama, the low vibrational gossip and things that really don't feed and nourish our soul and our spirit. It's time, and even as there's more and more distractions that come up as these old systems crumble and things begin to fall away, we're being called to block those out, stay in our power, stay in love, really invest, even when things are going haywire around us, invest in our own peace and the truth that is being presented. And let go of guilt. Let go of the people pleasing. Let go of the fear of what other people think of you as you begin to really unashamedly pursue the truth for you. Let go of the guilt of what your spouse might think, your friends might think, your parents, your kids. Let go of the guilt, because we are being called really as kind of the most gorgeous, beautiful, divine, powerful front line in our homes. We have so much influence. We have so much influence. So let go of the guilt of how they receive it or not. Be the fullness of you with courage, with strength, with persistence. And when all these systems around us, I'm up now, top right above the crystal mandala, the abundance mindset, with all these different distractions, all these other things happening, we have to remember and stay focused on the truth. God is not a God of lack. If you look at even just the sheer number of stars in the skies, or galaxies, or universes, that we don't even have a way to quantify them. There is never a lack of anything. I just talked to a couple friends the other day and was just talking about the miracle of, I made butternut squash soup, and inside just half of the butternut squash was like 100 seeds. And each seed doesn't just yield you one more squash, it yields you a whole nother plant that grows who knows how many squash, all with hundreds of seeds inside. God is not a God of lack. So we have to maintain an abundance mindset, and not that, oh, it's coming someday. Someday, abundance will be mine. It's now. It's now. It's all around us. And even though crazy things may be happening in the world, what's happening in your home? What's happening in your world? We are truly, truly abundant. And then we remember the last card, that we are not chasing or striving or struggling or efforting any longer. That is part of the new world, the new earth experience, and really embracing the abundance that is here for us and always has been. It's not about, I'm going to try and manifest this so hard, and I'm going to, say these mantras, or I'm going to say these affirmations. Not that there's anything wrong with mantras or affirmations. That's not what I'm saying. But it's a transition of a mindset away from, I have to do this and I have to try for this in order to get, just be. the more that you step into the fullness of who you are, the more that you step into the truth and you start to chase and pursue and invest in the dreams that you've had, the ones that you've withheld from yourself or allowed other people to deter you from, when you begin to step into those things and you begin to pursue them, and you do so with determination and perseverance, knowing that you are a goddess, that you are a part of God embodied, that you are an administrator of transformation, that small as we may be amidst 8.7 billion people, we are pollinating every day. We are seeding beauty and truth and love and joy and harmony and connectedness everywhere we go. We are transforming ourselves. We are embodying courage. We have been prepared to ride this wave of change. We chose to come and be the surfers of this wave and show other people that in the midst of the tumult, you can ride it all the way back to shore, to a new earth that's going to be fully transformed by each and every one of us that are willing to step in to the truth of who they really have always wanted to be, have felt called to be, but have been too afraid. Let all that go. The time is now. You're ready. I'm ready. Let's do this. I love you all.